audio is okay. And I just wanted to welcome everybody. You're more welcome to ask any questions if you're just jumping on here. Hopefully the audio, let's check. We're just kind of doing whatever. I just wanted to see how the week was going, how you guys did. Did you kill it? Did you crush it? Did you make a lot of money? The economy kind of slow. What are you seeing out there? How's the residential doing? If you're a moderator for me, you don't have to stick around. I appreciate your guys' help, but uh, I'll try to stay on top of the trolls if they come in. But like I said, it's one of those things. Keep it clean, please. No funny business, but there's a lot of AI. There's a lot of weird things in the world nowadays, huh? Boats running into things, bridges collapsing, WARs going on all over the place. What's next? What's next, right? So why people are trying to work their way in here, which they're probably getting out of work and they're hopefully getting outside maybe a little bit and enjoying this beautiful weather. I'm working on a gate operator. I'm getting her kind of secured up. I'll show you kind of what I do. But you guys are more welcome to jump in here and ask questions or anything you got. Or this thing made a horrendous kapow. I unstrapped it too prematurely, and then I moved the truck. And you can see the skate operator decided to fall over. So that wasn't cool. But I eat an apple. I'm a little bit hungry. Haven't had dinner yet. Don't mind me. I'll come and check on you in a minute. Had to enjoy this nice weather. Plus, this is just something that's got to get done. One of these is going to go probably to the shop because our variable speed, hopefully, no, the damage is pretty minimum. I thought for sure it dented it pretty badly, but she didn't. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just getting these all cleaned up. I'm getting them ready to be outside. One thing I do is I actually throw a little bit of, this is a real piece of thin metal. You can almost use pop cans if you want to. What I'll do is I'll actually go around this thing and any of the holes, I'll tape this on. Now, I haven't quite found, if you guys know of a good tape, I'm going to try this out. Now, I've tried duct tape and Gorilla tape. It holds up for maybe about a year, give or take. Just depends on the sun, the weather, the rain. So I've had this tape around forever. I'm really surprised how long it's lasted, honestly. It might be because it's got I think it's actually for duct work. I think you actually put it around ducts, for heating and cooling. And it's actually you take this piece off, and that's why it's still good, because it's still sticky. One thing I didn't know, little tip for you, is that once you get tape, you ever notice how tape's always wrapped on the outsides? I didn't know this. But anyways, that keeps it fresh, basically. Your tape it'll lose its stickiness in a sense. If you let it sit for a long time, you have it for a couple of years. So what you want to do is put them in a Ziploc bag, is what I do. It just helps preserve them. I didn't know that because I'd have tape that sat around for maybe a year or two or something. Just get lost and you find it and it's like, this tape ain't no good. But this tape I've had for years. I mean, I don't know where I got it. I think it was one of those that it walked off a job site with me or something. I don't remember how, but it's worked really good. And I bought some 3M and because I lost this one, of course. You know how that goes. What's that? High security? How's it doing, man? What's up, Prime Prepper? Doing good evening. Yes, just came across your channel, and I'm now going to subscribe. Oh, hey, that's awesome, man. Appreciate it. If you don't mind, too, give it a thumbs up. Like I said, I see there's roughly about 25. I know some of this is kind of AI and stuff. Um, but you're more welcome to subscribe. Like I said, I do garage doors, do gates, do run a business, all that jazz. So I just figured I'd come out here if you guys have questions and whatnot. I'm just going to work on this. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just going to try to get this cabinet open up a little bit. Ugh. Make sure I got all the holes plugged. Ta-da! These are actually kind of the operators that I grew up on. We call them the green board, is what we call them. So, let's see here. How am I going to do this? So that's all metaled up. I got a couple holes in the bottom. These gate operators sat so long. You'll see eventually I'll do a video on it. Kind of a voiceover type thing because I took a lot of pictures. I took quite a few pictures, but I didn't take any video. It was just one of those jobs that we were jamming at it. And it was a tear out. Ooh, I see oil residue. So what I did too, you can see that, I mean, well, I don't know if you can see. You can see, right? Yeah, you can see. See the stain here? This thing was so locked up. And I think it's because the sprinklers kept hitting it. So I think that's why it's got also, it had so much sprinkler hitting it. You can probably just barely see it, but there's residue in here. And this whole thing is a little rustier than what it should be for this year. This is an 07 for the year on this thing. And it's a little crusty. So what I did is I actually took some of this stuff. I've been liking this stuff. I used to use fluid film. I think I've stepped up in the world a little bit, and I think I like this. I think fluid film works pretty good. This stuff, when the cough syndrome was going on, can't say the real word, get in trouble. But this stuff right here, the surface shield, that stuff works pretty good. And Blaster makes that that penetrating oil, so this stuff works pretty good. But it seems like it sticks better, honestly. But I think it's pricier. But it's kind of one of those things, you get what you pay for. Um, ew, ew. So what's new out there, you guys? What are you guys doing? What's the economy like out there? I see. Like I said, it seems like residential's kind of feathered off. I've heard retail's kind of down. Even though it seems like when you watch the media, they say everything's great. Everything's great. Can you guys still see me over here? I'm just out here in La La Land. Probably not. What's Mr. Prime Prepper? He says, ask for me. Says, I'm doing okay. Besides getting kicked off my live. Oh, man. What's up with that, man? Getting kicked off your live. That's weird, man. I tell you what, you got 5G. You're trying to stroll on 5G, are you? Because if you're trying to stroll on 5G, 5G stinks, man. I don't know what is going on with 5G network. It's absolutely horrendous. I cannot live stream on 5G. It has to be the regular network. If it's 5G, it just gets all jammed up. Or I have to be on some kind of Wi-Fi. Seems to work the best. This seems like it's pretty steady. I've even had the kiddos have told me that even at the shop, it gets kind of glitchy. So maybe the Wi-Fi, I mean, I don't know what they're doing. Like I said, I think there's something going on with 5G. I think they've throttled it down. It's kind of like, what is that? What is it called? Is it Skylink? The Elon Musk one. I heard good things about that when it first kind of came out. And then it seems like it's kind of tapered off, if you know what I mean. Like, it's just not as good. That's just what I've kind of heard through the grapevine. Oh, man. What's up, Mr. Tanner? How was your week, buddy? What'd you get done? You're always out there crushing it. Did you get those doors installed, those big monsters? Got those overkill, well, I don't want to say overkill because you do a hell of a good job, man. Anytime you want to come up here and work in Michigan, man, you're more than welcome. The mid supports. Tanner does amazing. I think he does really good work, actually. It's like as soon as I seen Tanner's work, I was like, Tanner, you're hired. I mean, it's hard, man. Sometimes it's kind of hard to impress me, especially when you've just been doing it for so long and you have certain standards. And when I seen those mid supports and everything, I thought, man, you did a better job than me. I like people that do a better job than me. All right, let's see what Mr. Oh, sweet. Mr. Prime Prepper says, I gave you a like. Awesome, man. Appreciate it. Of course, it's held for review. That's weird. I wonder if I view it, if you guys will view it too, or if it's just on my end. Somebody being naughty. Don't be naughty. Ask for me doing okay. Kicked okay. I had my AKR on my back. Oh yeah, that's funny, man. Because I got a pow pow in the truck. I had it on my leg, because the world's kind of going crazy and you just never know. I've had properties that I've had to kick people off that are they got tents. They're living out of their tents on property. So I had to put like an eviction notice, on somebody's tent to evict them. And so man, you just don't know, man. It's just getting goofy out here. Um, so yeah, I'm surprised though Algo picked up on that. It doesn't surprise me. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff I think they. I was doing something the other day that was kind of a. I don't know. I was posting something and I thought, I thought the old Algos are gonna catch up on that picture. I bet. You just never know. Dun, dun. Got one more little hole. Oh yeah, just washing the truck for the end of the week. Install a 16 by 8 and 9 by 8. Ooh, nice. A few service calls and getting a few more calls lately and selling more residential, but commercial is always steady here. Oh, that's awesome, man. Tanner, what do you think about residential? You think residential is kind of taped off? I mean, I felt like we had a little burst, you know, like we had a little burst for like maybe tax return money or something, but now it's kind of, I see the quotes aren't getting, there's not so many quotes. Um, I still, like I said, I go to those box stores and I just don't see stuff flying out of there. We were just going past a storage, or not storage, but a place that makes little sheds, mini sheds and stuff, all kinds of stuff. It's Amish made, beautiful sheds they make. I was telling the wife, I said, man, that place is packed. And then I said on the sign, it even said, what did it say? It said repos. They had repos in stock, and I was like, that's not a real good sign. And then I was thinking, I told her, I said, the thing is, I said, she goes, well, they're pre-ordered, like so she's kind of playing the card that they're all sold, which I don't think is the case because I look at certain things there and they're still there. What I mean? The place is huge. I mean, I don't know what it is. It's probably, if I had to guess, about 10, 15 acres. And it's just full of these little sheds. And I said, the weird thing is, I said, all the times I come past here, I said, um, I never see trucks pulling them out. I mean, I know they do happen, but it's just, I said, I've been going past there quite a bit, and I said I just don't see semis, or not semis, but hot shotters, whatever, pulling them thing out of there. So I just, I kind of go, I don't think people are buying the sheds. There's just the money's not real lucrative. It's still there, and they haven't came out on the news yet with horrible news yet. With horrible news, the news with horrible news. Did I say that right? Don't tell me as long as I can bring my van. Heck yeah, man, you bring that van. It's funny, Tanner. I was literally looking at a van. It was similar in color. I don't think it was quite set up, but it looked lifted and stuff. And I thought, I gotta check this out, man. Like, so I clicked on it. I was looking to see if it was 4-wheel drive and stuff, and it wasn't, but it was a sharp looking van just like yours. And I went, man, that's a good looking van. Hiking. I don't know what that is. I think we better get rid of this one because, like I said, let's just do. I don't know. Let's go like this. How about that? I don't know. We'll just move that one. I don't think that one's related. Says I'll show it. Keep the lingo clean, boys. That's right, man. Mr. Tanner's here. He'll wipe your butt out. Hey, missed your comment to mine, but what did you say about me being kicked? Not much. I just thought, uh, like I said, I was just wondering why he got kicked. If it was, you said because of the gun and stuff. I figured it was you're on 5G. Because like I said, I was over by the mall. The sun is like in the perfect weird spot. But I was in the mall, or over by the mall. Our mall is pretty much dead. My dad always told me malls have a shelf life, and he was right. And this mall ended up it's pretty much done for. They're trying to revive it, but it's not looking good. But anytime I'm over there, they got 5G, and I mean, trying to download videos, trying to, you know, like YouTube or anything. I mean, it just stinks, man. And I got full bars, and I'm like, what is up with this 5G, man? I mean, is anybody else experiencing really good luck, or am I just the only one? Maybe I'm just the only one that has bad luck with 5G. Oh, sorry, Tanner. Oh yeah, fell a bit. But I just use residential as fill and pretty much, oh yeah, yeah, much. I tried to push commercial, just priced out 20. Holy cow, 20? 12 for it, non-insulated? Holy moly. Non-insulated, wow. So it will be necessary easy week or so. Yeah, that commercial, man, it's kind of nice how that works. So I'm just curious, Tanner, on those you said they were they non-insulated, right? Use residential non-insulated. Are they going to be strutted, or are you going to do like every other strut? How many struts are going to be on those doors? I'm just curious because I'm assuming you get wind over there too. Oh, I says no. I had my old habits from Army. I think that's funny. Even from the Army. Thanks for your service. And they do stuff like that, man. I just, ay. What's the world coming to? Everybody's being everybody's being programmed to be scared. I remember one time I was in a I was with my I think at the time it was my wife's friend, and we went into a store or something. We had to get something for a little barbecue cookout something. And I remember we're in there, and she all of a sudden she grabs me, grabs me by the arm. She goes, "Oh my gosh!" And I go, "What?" And she goes, "That guy's got a gun." I said, "Okay." I said, "So what?" I said, "As long as they ain't pointing at me." I said, "I ain't got a problem with it." I said, and I said, "I know who I'm going to run to because I didn't have a pow pow on me." I said, "I guess I know who I'm going to run to if something starts going bad." I said, "I'm going to get behind him, tell him where to go, what to shoot, what to do. Let's get the heck out of here." So those things don't bother me. Like I said, I grew up hunting, all that jazz. It's a tool. This thing right here called a vehicle. I can run you over too with it. You know what I mean? It's just how you use the stuff. It's unfortunate. Let's take a look. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do the inside with that grease. It looks so bad. It looks so greasy. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do with you? Yeah, so I'm just getting these cabinets ready to sit outside for a while. They already sat out most of their life, but they're gonna sit out a little longer until I find a use for them. So, just kind of getting them prepped for being outside because once they're in a field, kind of like out here, those mice, man, I cannot stand field mice. They just get into everything. Absolutely everything. There we go. There we go. And I think I'm going to do the bottom too because I have had problems with ants. Ants can be problematic too, especially like little, I don't know what you call them. They're mud ants, but something like this made a nest in there, and that wasn't too pretty. That's gross. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's a wasp or what that thing is. All right, let's see here. No, thank me, brother. Only did a year out. Okay, 4-year contract. Was that a good thing or bad thing? I mean, like I said, my hat's off to you. I couldn't. I don't know. I just couldn't. I can't deal with the politics. That's just me. Here in Iowa, wind is bad, but sadly, we don't have. Well, we don't have wind code. Okay, but I'm assuming they will have 4 or more per door. That's cool. That's cool. Like I said, I'm trying to think of that one. I really think that one was like a 10 by 10. Might have been 10 by 12. 12 by 12? Probably 12 by 12. Man, this thing caved in on me. I think I only had one strut on it though. And what the deal was, it was weird. It was facing, what would that be? It was facing east. And normally all our hard prevailing winds are from the west. God darn, there's a turkey. I'd show you. You'd have a hard time seeing it. It scared me. I looked out in the woods here and I thought, God, that's a deer. Now it's 2 of them, 2 turkeys running through. But anyways, I had that door, like I said, on the east side, and somehow that wind whipped around that big building and it blew that door in. Well, the problem is that the old door was actually really heavy gauge, 24 gauge, whatever, like it was a heavy solid door. And I guess I estimated what I thought it was, and I estimated wrong. I should have went with a heavier steel. So in my mind, because their door, I feel like somebody ran into it or something, but I thought, okay, well, If this door made it with no struts, I mean, the new door will be fine with no struts. I mean, it's on the, not on the prevailing side or whatever. It's got an easier life. Well, I don't know, it was 3 or 4 months later, like I said, I get a phone call. Hey, that door you put in? Yeah, you know. I'm waiting for the whole like congratulations or it looks really nice or we like the color or man that thing works a lot better. No, I get the hey man, that door caved in. What? Who hit it? Nothing. I'm like, are you kidding me, man? Mm-mm-mm. And it's weird because I know my vendor. They were uh, they were talking about it. They were talking about. I don't know why she was pushing it so hard, but she was pushing it like we're gonna have wind code. You know what I mean? Like the wind load bearing stuff. She's like, oh, it's coming. She's coming. They got it down in Florida. It's coming. And if you're not da 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 da, and I mean, she made it sound like it was gonna come within like another year, and this was years ago, and nothing ever became of it. So it's just you know you got to use your best judgment. And I totally get it. With Tanner, it could be low bid. You know what I mean? You got to do what you got to do. But I know um, I just like to do struts on everything, especially if you got employees, because I like everything. I don't like to think about it. Once you get it, and obviously with there being that many doors, you're gonna get it down. You're gonna say boom, 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 boom. It's gonna be easy, and it adds up. Obviously, what are struts running, Tanner? 20, 30, 40 bucks, 60 bucks a pop. I mean, that adds up. I mean, especially if you overlook something. So, and hopefully just pay, you got to pay attention which way that wind's coming. If it's a hard off a lake or something or, wherever. Do-do-do-do. Here in Iowa, should have my new Arkin scope any day. Now, I'm going to give them a shot. Great reviews. Ooh, budget scope. Said to put scope and high dollar scopes. Okay, throwing it on a 22 mag. Nice. Nice. Heck yeah, man. That's awesome. That's sweet. Still a year or more. Most people prime. Prime. Thanks, man. Says the calls are never good. Always something wrong or broke. Man, isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? I tell you what. I tell you, man. It's just. It honestly. Does it ever get old? Does it ever get old, Tanner? I I tell you, man. It kind of hit me at one time. At one point, that it was like I started thinking about it and I was like, it's not horrible, but it's just one of those things you think about where it's like every time that phone rings, it's somebody that has a problem. It's never really. I mean, you get once in a while. I get once in a while we get a secretary or something. She called me and let me know that the customer was real happy with the service, and they obviously I don't know what you guys do, but like for me, I never would tell. I never tell the customer I'm the owner unless unless it would come up where I had to use my authority. Then I did. I would if like the customer was just like, this is not right, this is not good, blah blah blah. I want to talk to somebody, and you better get somebody here right now. And I'd be like, throw off my hat, throw another hat on, and be like, I'm here. What do you want? Go ahead and call that number right now. You know what I mean? My phone's gonna ring. You know. But I'd work with some guys, and I always would tell them. I'd say, look, I said, one guy, he was a kind of a grunt worker, and he just never understood it, man. I mean, he'd always be like, you know, whatever you say, boss man. I'm like, dude, I'm like, don't say that. Well, what? You really are. Yeah, I get that, but it's kind of that whole thing again. It's like it's good to be king, but the crown is heavy. Tilt you down a little bit here, and that's kind of how it goes. It's like, man, I'm telling you what, you just can't. It seemed like, man, I smell something burning. Just seems like it never fails that you do tell them, and then it seems like they always come up with something, right? Well, hey, since you're the boss, like, could I get a discount or something? It's like, no, that's not how this works. You know what I mean? You agreed to a price. It's just really odd that I made it out here. Wasn't expecting it. Short staffed. Somebody didn't show up for the day, so I'm here. You got to pay it. But customers can be real weird, man. They are really strange beings sometimes. Not all, but sometimes. I can tell I screwed up. I shouldn't have sprayed this thing first. I sprayed it with that fluid or that surface shield. And it's crazy how this, you can see it actually in the camera. You can see how this stuff right around here, how it weeped out. I didn't even spray it that heavy in there. I just gave everything a dust. And it's already like penetrating out. It's pretty good stuff. And obviously where all my holes are right here, this is not working so good. I'm gonna have to really layer some more tapes on there. I guess it's a good thing it's on the bottom. It's gonna be squished between the skid. But it's a little disappointing. I should have known. I'm always trying different things. You always got to challenge yourself. Try new things. Try new things. Try new products. Try new things. Oh yeah, still here. Why does it say prime? Okay. The calls. I had a few calls just to say they love the door or install. Ooh, I love. Like I said, normally I don't really get those ones. It seem like gotta love them when the employees tell the customers a timeline or price, or something, and completely wrong. Ooh, I had to accrue one ass the other day for that reason. I don't even know the price most of the time. That's the wife's department. Tell them my wife is the boss. I just install garage doors. Oh man, that's funny. That's funny. I still remember this one guy. He uh, he goes up, like I said, it's like an hour and it's at least a good hour and 15 minutes away. And we had those easy set things. So he bought the door at Menards, and this we were going to install it for him. It's one of those ones that we normally don't do, but we're going to do it. And so I remember the guy gets up there and he calls me and he says, "Hey man," he goes, "I just sold him." I'll pick that up. He goes, "I just sold this guy a $300 spring conversion, man, because I told him that easy set stuff is junk." And I'm like, "Okay." And I'm like, first thing I go, "And so you got all the parts on your truck, right?" Uh, uh, I, and I'm thinking, so you just told this guy everything, this whole setup here from Menards is junk. And now you just, like you don't even have the stuff on your truck. So now you said you just got them for another 300 bucks. You know what I mean? But now either I or somebody else or you got to leave the job and got to come all the way back and get the parts. Hope you got the right parts. You know what I mean? And don't screw it up and then go all the way back up there, right, to install it. So now we might have made 100 bucks. And now, if we're only at 100 bucks and you still forgot something or you bought, because I've had this happen too, right? You grab two springs or in the barrels or whatever, this or that, and now they're two left hands. And you're like, now what do you do? Do you, and then do you go back? So it's one of those things that I've learned. I like that saying, you you got two ears and one mouth, so shut up and listen. You know what I mean? So I look at it like less is more. It's just like when you get pulled over by a police officer and stuff like that, less is more. You know what I mean? You answer very little, you don't tell certain things, you plead the fifth, because everything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. And so you got to watch what you say on those jobs. And my uncle was always really good about teaching me when I worked with him that, everything is sweet, everything's great when the customer's there. And once they leave, that's when you turn into, hey man, we got a problem, come over here and take a look. And I remember his kid one day even did this where I think they were doing siding or something or whatever. And anyways, they hit the corner of the house. It was a historical, beautiful house. And now this guy, right? This guy pulls up in his Jag, and he's like, and his kid, says, "Oh yeah," he goes, "Well, the driver, the delivery driver today hit that right there in the corner, right?" And now this guy had this wasn't in his view at all. Now he's like, he just looks at it and he's like, hmm. And so now he leaves, right? And my uncle chewed his hiney out, his own kid, and it's like, you don't ever say that in front of a man. He's like, I could have fixed that. He says, they would have never seen it. He goes, now he comes back. Every time he comes back, he's gonna be looking at that. Hey man, that paint don't look right. Can you paint the whole trim now? You know, just things you got to think about. It's just how it goes in business. That's why I always look at it like I feel like I've had so many people in the business that have worked here or whatever. And it's like, I'm like, you guys, you're never, ooh, that's a sharp one. I said, there's never a pow pow at your head. You know what I mean? I probably can't say that word. I think it hurts me. If I say the GUN, I said, you never have one. You never have one. So all you got to do is tell somebody, say, you know what? I don't know the answer right now. I can find out for you. Let me make a few phone calls, or let me get back to you. Let me call you back. But I don't really know. And you just leave it at that. And you get your answers, you recoup, you think about what you're going to say, you think about what's the right decision. It's really not hard. You just got to slow down. Sometimes you just got to slow down. I always tell you that about business. Wow. What's that? I got love employees. Yes, he says. Oh, man, excuse me. The time that's the wife's department, always telling wife is the boss. Install. That's right. You can ever micromanage enough. Never. Yeah, that is kind of the unfortunate truth. Um, that is very true. Give you a little better. All right. That is the truth, man. There's no doubt about that. And sometimes you just still can't even fix, like that saying, sometimes you just can't fix stupid on some things. It's sad. Some people never understand. It's kind of like, hey, man, It's weird because it's like I used to know all the prices. Now I can't even get myself in trouble because um, I don't know the prices. I absolutely don't know the prices. I'm so stuck back in 2008 that it's not even funny. Like I said, I used to install doors, for like a 16 by 7 non-insulated. It was like $720 installed. Yeah, and now it's probably, I don't know, $1,200, $1,500 for a non-insulated 16 by 7. And it's the only reason why I know that is because it was on a chart, and that chart had all our breakdowns. And now everything's kind of like phone call. You know, it's a phone call. You tell them, price over the phone. You agree upon it. You put it in the system. You put it in Jobber. And I should actually. There's been a guy named Jake, been kind of haunting me. Not really. He's been asking me on emails, and I haven't gotten back to him because he has some kind of software. But I don't like when people offer me money, and he's saying something like he's going to give me like a $200, I think, Amazon. So Jake, if you're watching, hit me up in the email, because obviously I know if you're in the middle of a video, you must be kind of legit, But I don't want your money. I'd rather just use a software that helps people if it's going to be that wonderful. And so if anybody, if anybody jumps on or is gets on here at some point, email me. I don't think you can do the comments. I think there's a way you got to do it, and I don't know how to do it or something. But let me know too if you're going to. I'm just curious if anybody's going to go to the IDA Expo. I'm just curious what I do for some alcohol right now. Not the alcohol you drink, like alcohol to clean, rubbing alcohol. Hey, you guys were getting your hopes up. I'm not buying beers tonight. I'm not doing it. Oh, yeah, that doesn't want to stick on there. Ew. All right, try a little bigger piece. First, if you don't succeed, try again. That's how I look at it. So Mr. Tanner, he ended up doing some installs. I gotta check, see if the guys, how they're doing on the, I think the 11 door job. Hopefully they're doing all right. Got it wrapped up. I got a little busy. I was gonna get over there and hopefully try to help them, but I tell you what, man, there's a lot of things in the works. It's all good though. It's all good. I wonder how many. I was just thinking about Mr. Tanner. I was wondering how many workers. You just got some part-time guys, or you got full-time guys? Ah, oh, easier said than done. On the slow down, I struggled for years. Yeah, it's like I've said in other videos too. It's one of those things where I've, like I said, I knocked out like 100 grand, roughly 100 grand out of the business the next year, and like I said, I made about another 30 in profit. And I was like, well, how is that? And it was because of the travel, man. I tell you, that travel, it will eat you up. It is tough. Now, it's one of those things that you can still try to bake it in there, right? You know, like you charge more and this and that, but you're always taking a chance of that liability. Because you know how it is. You get out to certain things. Where was I at? I just had a job today. I think I was telling the wife Patron. I said, I don't think I ever got paid for that job. I said, you know, and I think that's sometimes the struggles in this business, it can be, is that you gotta, you know, it's one thing you gotta sell it, right? You got competition, so you sell it. You know, you revise this estimate maybe once, twice, three, four, six times. You revise it, right? You go over it, go over it, go over it. You get the job finally, right? Boom, you get the job. And then you got to get everything together for this job, which you got to hope and pray that you got, you know, everything's going to be, you know, like for one, the vendor's not going to like throw some Hail Mary on you, and you know they're going to show up with all the sections, but we kind of forgot the track, or our vendor they're not shipping them out, blah blah blah. That can always be a problem. Then you got to hope that all the product is, you know, in good shape, not damaged, dented, scratched. Uh, all the hardware's there. You know, there's a lot of stuff. Then you do the job, right? And then there's always that unforeseen stuff, right? You know, the jams weren't, you know, the jam for the door is fine, but the uppers, you know, maybe they put some steel in there. I had that once. I had like a, golly, I think it was like almost a inch gap from like if you're going up by the door, and then they got a header going across. That was fine, but it's like when it jumped onto that vertical, because I think it had, I can't remember if it was full vertical or it had just some. It had a lot of high lift, but I remember the track was away from the wall. You know, whoever welded in these things, and then the problem was is whoever welded in these things, the gussets, whatever, for us to screw into, they were such thick steel. The ones were fine, right? They're the normal red steel. You can bust through those with your big tappers. But the other one, oh my God, I bought special bits to go through. I bought a special bit for my big impact because that's all I had at the time. And I had a special order through Fastenal, and it was like the bit itself, which a teeny little bit, you know, whatever, was like 70, 80 bucks. And then like the screws alone were like 120 bucks a bag. And I think there was only like 100 of them in there. And then I ended up buying a welder, you know what I mean? Because it's like one of those things like you're like, I don't even know what I'm going to do. You know, I don't know if I'm going to, I don't know if I'm going to weld it. If I'm going to just build it out with weld. I don't know if I'm going to put screws. I don't know if I'm going to put washers. So you end up, you go out and you buy all this stuff, right? All this stuff because you're going back to the job, right? And you're bringing a worker with you or help or whoever. And you're like, I can't fail. I need to have every piece of machinery I can have to hopefully get this job done in an appropriate time. This is already eating up time, you know what I mean? Because there's all these things behind the scenes, right? You just got your butt whipped, on the job. So you're spending the nights and the weekends or whatever trying to go around and get the right stuff to make it work. Um, then you got to go back. And like for us, we were staying in a hotel and driving a little Ford Ranger. We drove a little Ford Ranger down there. And it's kind of weird. I remember, I kind of remember part of the story. What was is that you had to push a button in to make the air conditioner work. And we didn't know that. We kept driving down there. It was dead of summer. And then, of course, you get in a traffic jam. And yeah, that was not fun. Well, then we get back after doing this job. I think it was like our last time being there. And I forget why we're standing around the truck or something. And the one guy that was kind of he had Ford Rangers. I don't remember. He just reached in and he's like, I said, dude, this truck is horrible to drive. I said, we ain't got no air conditioning. I said, we get stuck in traffic. I said, we're just hanging out like dogs, And he's like, really? He goes, huh? He goes, well, he's looking at it and stuff. And he goes, did you push the button in? There was like a weird hidden button to activate the compressor. I remember he pushed it in and I'm like, are you kidding me? Now, luckily, it didn't really blow that cold, but it sure was a heck of a lot better than hot air. But man, I tell you, things you learn. I was so bummed. Of course, this is kind of the days before Google and all that. Oh man, I see Mr. Tony jumping. What's up, Mr. Tony? Oh, gotta throw this in the garbage before it blows away. Another one. So he says, easier said, yes, I really want to go this year, but with the newborn, oh yeah, man, I totally get that. The wife is not having it. Oh man, I get it. I'm wondering, is it every year or so? Is it bi-yearly? I think it's every year, as far as I know. And I think we didn't do the one in California before. We did. I think they did it in. Is it Indiana? I think one of the Indiana guys knows. I thought it was Indianapolis. I can't remember what it was at. But we went to that one a few years back. That's all right. It's cool seeing stuff. I was kind of hoping, like, I don't know if they're gonna sell them, because was it for Tony? Tony's my sure wine. I thought, man, if they got it there, I'm just gonna buy it right there instead of having to deal with shipping. And I'd rather just like butter somebody up a little bit. You know what I mean? To be like, oh man, you sold me. Even though like Tony did most of the work, be like, you sold me, man. Like I gotta buy one. I might even buy two. Probably buy the sure winder and that brute winder. Ah. No. Says I had a full-time guy for 2 years, but started the wanting to work 32 hours and get paid for 40. I think we just had a conversation about somebody doing that today, actually, with the wife of Tron. So had to let him go. Hired 221, 22. Okay, your guys. So they together. I have one guy. How they say they're doing? Yeah, I it's tough, man. Like I always knew, like when you're pulling me out of the field, I'm basically two people, when I'm in the field because uh, I can work all basically by myself. I actually enjoy working by myself because if I have somebody, sometimes I feel like I gotta kind of babysit, and depending on their attitude, like it's weird. Like I love working with somebody if they're learning and training and they're absorbing it and they're asking questions and they want to do better. But if it's just somebody that's just there to, make a little cash money and um, they're not easy to talk to, let's just say, they're not realistic about stuff. It can be very, it can be hard. You know what I mean? It can be almost like at the end of the day, you're just like, oh my gosh, like I had to work with Junior today, and it's like, yeah, well, and it's like, well, I got mental because I'm sitting here trying to, you know, do this, do that, trying to keep him busy. I got to keep myself busy. This isn't going right. I got to make sure this product gets in. We got to get, we could have really used one more person to at least huff the stuff in. You know how it goes. Oh man, it says, hey Dave, don't mean to change the subject, but I had to ask you the other day. I purchased a phone number. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. From phone number from a guy and contents, a business. You can put two numbers on your phone. Dude, that's crazy. That is crazy. Two numbers on your phone. Yeah, I'm really happy, Tony, that you're, bringing this up because I think this is great because, I tell you, man, anybody, if you can help anybody, especially when you're like starting out in the garage door business. Um, so like, I forget how he did it, but I think it was Sprint. We had Sprint back in the day. We had the Blackberries, and Nextel. We were a big Nextel. Um, but I remember like with me and my business partner, we end up, you know how it is. Like when you're starting out, man, you gotta. I mean, you you gotta take like every phone call, like every phone call. I mean, every customer, you're just, hello to garage door service, and so I remember. But the problem I ran into would be is that a customer. See, I noticed this even when I used to work at Penske, right? I used to work in working on cars. We could sit there for 30, 45 minutes sometimes, right? We just sit by the bays, the garage doors, right? And all of a sudden there'd be like, there's nobody, right? And all of a sudden you'd watch one car come in. Yep. And it's like, oh, here they come, boys. And sure enough, one, two, three, four, four more cars or something coming. And it was always like, what in the heck? Where it's like, during the day, it's like, why can't this be like, here comes a car, here comes two cars, here comes three cars, oh, here comes one car. It come in burst, and I mean, it was like I almost wanted to ask everybody that came in and be like, are you guys all neighbors? Like, did you all call each other like, hey, let's go down and get our oil change today? Or, and so with the garage door stuff, you guys know how this goes if you're seasoned vets, but if you're a newbie, you won't know this, you know what I mean? But the problem is you'll be on the phone, right? And you'll get a customer that wants to talk and you got to do the whole listen thing, right? And they, well, my mother, something just happened or this or that or and you'll see another phone call come in and you're like, fudge. You're like, and if you don't know how to operate the phone real good or put them on hold and then like typically like your hold doesn't have any kind of music, so they're going to disconnect, right? And then that's opportunity for them to call your competition because they have a list of numbers in front of them. They don't remember who they were talking to. So what I would do is on the Sprint we had it where we could forward it. I think it was called a soft call forwarding. And what we would do is it would ring to me or something first, and then if I didn't answer or if I was even on the other line, I think it would ring. I could still answer, but I didn't because obviously I was on the phone with somebody else, and it would go over to my business partner. So he could possibly catch it. Now he wasn't worth a hoot for that crap because he just wanted to ride motorcycles and wave runners, and he just looked at it like if it was somebody calling after, let's say like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, he was like, not my problem. You know what I mean? It's bad attitude. But that's cool. I'm glad you brought that up, Tony, because I just think it's great to have options. Options are really good, and that's interesting. That's very interesting. I still don't quite understand the two SIM cards because I've never seen two slots on a phone or anything. So I mean, if you get a chance, Tony, or something, take a picture of it or just a screenshot of something, or so I don't know. Or is it because it's like you have a built-in one and then you have like an auxiliary one? Because I'm kind of remember back in the day, it used to be you could just like take a SIM card out, and put it in another phone, and the thing would like know, and it would just fire up for the most part. Nowadays, everything's built in. Tuner, good about 5 months. Uh, but only time we tell I can tell I can believe the lack of knowledge in young men these days. I knew most trailer and truck task at 16. Oh man, yeah, from my dad and grandpa. Some stuff I can't teach. Yeah, it's I've noticed a lot, and I think, I was just reading a little documentary or whatever, and they said how, what was it? Back in maybe the 50s. It was like something like that, 1950s. They said that 90% of people were farmers, and you think about that, and then you think about how many people were in marriages. They weren't all these divorces and stuff, and so a lot of these kids. Even my 96-year-old grandpa was telling me stories how, he was hooking up wires, to the outside power line, so his mom could listen to the radio, and then when he'd leave, you have to disconnect it. So I don't know if they didn't, maybe they just didn't quite have, you smell something burning, and you're like, where the heck's that coming from? But anywho, how they had to walk to school, uphill both ways, kind of thing. Uh, they used to get rides, they didn't know if their uncle was ever going to pick them up. They had to work the farm. I remember he said he had to ride a horse, I think, to plow the field, one row, just to get the weeds and stuff. Um, but anyways, what I'm trying to get at is that, like, a lot of this generation, right? What are most people? They're, you know, playing video games. They're not out running a weed whacker. They're not running a chainsaw. They're not out baling hay. Um, and so I've noticed it a lot in power tools. You know what I mean? Especially the gas power tools. I mean, I see guys all the time that would, like, and I'd sit there and go, what in the, like, can he not smell that thing is flooded? Like, does he have no idea? And, like, I understand certain things have, like, certain tricks to them, you know? Um, but, like when they're running a power saw and they're running it, bogging it, and it's like burning up the clutch in it, basically. So I always noticed it a lot in power tools, gas power tools. And I don't think that's going to change. Um, and so that's why, sometimes I lean towards it may still get worse before it ever gets better, type of thing. And, um, you know, it's just, if you can find that person that wants to, that's always helpful. So what's Tony say? He says, Tanner, that's why you hire female lot better workers can remember shit too. Yeah, yeah, I don't know if it's too many pain pills, let's just say. There's the other stuff too, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. It's just, it ain't going in the right direction. I'm interested to see what happens if Mr. T doesn't make it in, and we have kind of some kind of rally out of it, because I don't know if we get like if we end up getting a interest rate cut this year, and then things kind of, I feel like if we get an interest rate cut, things are going to kind of boom a little bit, because people are going to be like, you're going to have that whole mindset, especially the younger generation, where they'll, oh my gosh, we better take it now. But of course, they've already kind of mentioned that they were going to do, what, 3 or 4 cuts this year, and so far they haven't done none. Now, doesn't mean they are. They say it, doesn't mean they are. But if they do, we might have a little bump. And they might use that as ammunition too, because it's a election year, and Mr. B might need all the help he can get. But I just can't believe all the stuff that's going on out there right now. It's just heartbreaking. It's just maddening. It's just crazy. Ugh, can't do that. So I don't know. And then it's like, if he doesn't, Mr. T doesn't get in there, let's just say, which I don't know if Mr. T, I'm not going to say he's going to change our life forever, because he's only got 4 years. And he might say, well, he's already left such a bad mess. Um, I'm left such a bad mess. I got to clean this up. And you know how you gotta always imagine that there's people in there. I mean, it's just so, it's kind of like with, what is it, Congress? You know, how many old people are in there? and they get to stay in there basically. And I don't know, it's just too long. It's too long. Sad, really sad. So I don't know. I mean, if and I hope hopefully we're lucky enough that the economy just goes booming. Um, but that's why what we need to start doing, all of us, right, is we got to start thinking about stuff, assets, that do good in a bad economy. They do good in a good economy, and that's typically why I always think like I like the real estate because in a great economy, right, your assets going up. In a bad economy, if you're renting it out, you're still getting rent. You know what I mean? And like I always say, they all got their own problems. Um, I try to mitigate them. I try not to solve all of them. So like for me, I use property managers, and but I've been through this already back in the '07, '08, and it wasn't fun. It was like 5 years, 5 years of heartache, and part of me kind of hopes we do, right? Because I'd like to possibly, snag a few chunks of property at a discounted price. Um, so it's really hard to say what's going to happen. It's just crazy. I just can't believe we're at where we're at. I don't think inflation's going down. I'm not seeing it anyways. Um, it might get spiraled back up too. You know what I mean? Once they drop that, if they do any drops, if the old Fed man, that was it's a big dog. Yeah, Indiana. Okay, is it Tony? Because you're in Indianapolis, aren't you, Tony? I've been wanting to show you guys this thing. I don't know if it'll come out of the willy weeds. It's just been sitting there. I got an old Stanley over there. You want to see the Stanley? Let me know. Say, I want to see the Stanley. Remember the Stanleys? They had the old screw on the bottom, like you touch it and it just explode and break. And I had so many of those. I did J arms, and what I learned the trick was on those old Stanleys is I would mess with a J arm before I'd ever touch that limit on that opener, because every time I touched that limit, it'd always get freaked out. It would screw up. It would jump. It would go too far, or you'd break the plastic trolley. Oh man, that was bad. That was bad. See if I can switch these around. Yeah, these were basically given away in a sense. The thing is, these gate operators are like they're about $5,000 a piece nowadays. And like I said, these were the ones that were built in Michigan before they got sold out. So I really like these ones. Hmm. Let's see here. See if we can get this puppy out of here. These things are heavy too. They're not fun. Oh, super heavy. I brung the skidster out just to get them out because they're heavy. I've done it before. I've been desperate, and I have literally. This one looks a little cleaner. The sprinkler must not got this one so bad. The door's kind of frozen up. Yeah, that's how she goes. We'll just be nice. Oh, what did Mr. Tony work on this week? Where? Yeah, it was Indianapolis. Okay, it's Fort Wayne, about 2 hours north of Indy. Nice. Where is it? And when is it? I think it's out in Cali. I keep looking it up I don't know where in California. I tried looking up to see if I didn't look real hard. Don't get me wrong, but I was trying to see who the vendors were, because I was kind of hoping that Sherwine was going to be out there, but I can't remember. Don't mind me. I'm just off camera. Gotta get some try to get some tools. Uh, da-da-da. But out in Cali, uh, I think, I don't know if they sell stuff out there. That's the thing. If it's, I know they can show things and all that, but I don't know if there's people really selling a lot. Maybe some shirts and stuff like that. But I mean, be like at LiftMaster's booth. I mean, I'm probably not gonna. I can place an order with a salesman, but I thought with the Sherwine, I thought, well, heck, man, it's kind of a small item. At least they got some. They bring some. I just thought it'd be cool to get one instead of ordering it. I can order it offline. It's no big deal. Trying to get this puppy so she lays flat for me. We didn't get that good of a clean job on her. See if I can get it. Cali's a little ways. I'm a little bit, honestly, I don't know for sure if I'll make it because I really despise the airplanes. I've had enough airplanes and getting groped. And even when we try to follow the rules, it's like they always have to find something. It's like a building inspector. They always got to find something to make himself feel important. And then it's like, what do you do with it? I'm just like, whatever, throw it in the garbage. I'm not going back to my car. So you basically got to go with like nothing. Then you got to, I was just reading somebody saying how the airport treated them. They waited 2 hours. I think they had a 3-hour delay. Then they had to wait 2 hours for their rental car. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, as much as I hate driving, I just look at it and I go, man, it'd just be way better just to drive. Your stuff's in the vehicle. La-di-da-di-da. Oof. That was fun. Oh, man. Let's see here. What does it say? Sony says, I do remember my grandpa had that for his business. Excuse me. What does it say? If it rings a certain amount of times, then it switches over to the other phone. If it was your grandpa, I don't know if he was doing it on cell phones. I thought Tony was talking about on a cell phone. So I'm trying to think if I don't remember doing it off a landline. Man, I can't remember. I don't think we did it off a landline. See, we started out on a. See, I kind of got lucky. I don't even know how to approach it now. I don't know if you can still go to a. Like the way I probably would approach it is I'd go to a cell phone company, where they sell the phones or whatever. Probably and you might have to check, like 2 or 3 different ones. And what I would do is I would ask them, say, hey, is there a list that I can, um, look at to pick a phone number? Now, I know the wife did one not too long ago, and it was something like they said, no, you just get kind of what you get. But that was only through one, you know, vendor. But I feel like I got it because when we got our number, I wanted something easy. That's, they kind of pushed me that way. And so I remember who was it? It was the phone. It was like the advertising. I feel like it was the phone book. Because, they were kind of like integrated together, the phone book and the telephone company. And I think it was, I don't even know if it was Frontier or Verizon back in the day. But anyways, they said, well, they gave me some numbers, and I picked the simplest number, right? It had, I liked how it was just like 8,200. It just seemed like, hey, 799, 8,200, boom, man, there you go. So we got that number, and I switched to maybe once or twice. I found out the hard way. You don't want to do it too much, and I just heard another guy talk about this. And anyways, while we were transferring the number, they in the midst of it, like said they lost it, and they said it could take up to like an hour. Well, then we were hitting like an hour and 30 minutes to 2 hours, and I had to do it during business hours. Well, it was really upsetting because I knew we were getting customers calling, and it was like, now it's going to be like, and then I even tried calling the number, and it'd be like, do 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 do, the number you're trying to reach is no longer in service, or and I'm like, fudge, man. I'm like, that's all I need is my commercial customers or just any customer calling. They're like, oh, well, I guess he went out of business. We'll never call him again. Like, scratch that off the list. And so it could be, but then when we went to, we use like a service that's called Ring Central. There's a lot of options with it. You got to have, we bought the internet phones and you can transfer, you can put people on hold. I think it's, what is it? The secretary can use it off her phone. It can go right to her phone. So many options. But it's a service. You got to pay for it. But it's just really nice. Um, but you can do it off phones. I mean, off cell phones if you're small. How is it that you hear a tree fall in the forest? I mean, what's the odds of that? I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little scared. That's crazy. Like it sounds like somebody's pulling over a tree, and I know there's nobody around. At least I hope. I guess I shouldn't say I know. Could be that guy I evicted in the tent. He's coming back for revenge. He's gonna whittle himself a baseball bat, or it's one heck of a deer. So Tony says it's on my cell phone. So yes, sir. I don't do airplanes. I drive everywhere. Yes, and I would love to take my Duramax pickup to Cali. Oh, I don't think that would ever let me back in the state. There would be black smoke everywhere. Yeah, yeah, Cali, man, they really done the crackdown, haven't they, on the trucks and everything, the semi trucks. They can only have certain years. I think the skies are falling. Says, yeah, I guess it would ring to his office phone, and then it rang a certain amount of times. It would go to his cell phone. Nice, nice. Yeah, I feel like it was called soft call forwarding, and there used to be a number. I don't remember if it was on the landline. It could have been, but if you, it was very hard finding it back then because obviously like Google wasn't near as powerful and stuff. But you could type in like star star 9 star or something like that, and it would let you enter that number in, and it worked pretty good. It was pretty fluent. Um, so it's kind of one of those things you got to be really careful. Like I probably, if I was starting out, I don't think I would. Uh, I don't think I'd buy like a track phone and then base my business off that number. Um, if that makes sense, like I wouldn't bank on that going to be secure because if you run out of minutes or you let it go too long, like you probably should go with a better like whoever Sprint, Frontier, Verizon, somebody that's a known brand because it's just really crappy if you work really hard when you lose your phone number because that's like all your work put in. I mean, and I remember, like I said, I was biting my fingernails when that phone number. They said I don't know what you're talking about. We can't find it. And I'm like, you can't find it. And I'm like, I don't even have like really like a confirmation number. I have no guarantee. I have like, I don't have one person to deal with, right? Because when you call these phone centers, you get a totally new person, and they're doing the whole like, oh, um, you know, who is this? What's your account number? And you're like, what's my account number? My account number is go fly a kite. You better figure this out. I'm going to be freaking out. Scoot this puppy around. It's definitely pretty quiet on the old chat tonight. Like I said, not too many people. It's Friday. I get it. Like I said, I figured I wanted to at least do a live today because I don't know if I'm gonna get a chance tomorrow. And Sunday's obviously Easter. You got to spend time with those kids. I should ask Tanner. Tanner, is that your first one? Is that your first kiddo? I know you got the newborn. Hope it's going good. I don't think you have any more. Just an assumption, but I don't know. I guess are you gonna plan on having any more? Have 20 of those things? Have a whole fleet? Get these puppies moved around. Whee! Skid could be in a little better shape too. I'm waiting for Sasquatch to come out of the woods. All that noise. Sounds like he just took a huge tree down. I've been in the woods quite a bit hunting over the years. I never heard noise like that. And what's the odds when you're in the woods that's gonna happen? Guess it never fails. Wow. Okay, open sesame. Perfect. Ew. It's like cleaner, but it's not. These can be gold sometimes. These old manuals, they can tell you stuff that the new stuff, like how to mount it. What's really important on them. Like right here is really good too to order parts. And the schematics on these, can't see it, it's on the door. Let me show you. This right here, this puppy right here is very, on these older gate operators. I know a lot of you guys don't do the gate operators. Somebody that put their signs on. Look at that. They're really not too bad. As long as you stay close to home. As long as you stay close to home, you do a good quality install, they're not too bad. There are a lot of stuff that's very similar. You got 3 buttons. It's, this company, back in the day, they made these. I don't know if did any of you guys ever deal with the Oscos? Right there. Make sure everything, the mic's still working. It's getting cold, man. The sun's going down. Yes, dude. Plans. I guess it would ring to the office. Good Friday. Yes. And happy Easter, people. Yes, sir. First kid, best thing ever. Man, I tell you, I remember I was so scared of my first kid. And I remember the guy told me one time, it was my brother-in-law's brother. And I was so nervous. And he told me, he said, man, I'm telling you, he says, it's a love that you can't describe. And I would say he was right. It is a love that you can't describe. Kids are, they can be, don't get me wrong, they can be a lot of work. A lot. But they are a lot of fun. They're the future. You know what I mean? Like, that's the one thing I really enjoy is, like, I love teaching. I love doing the things with them. They're the future. They're what you leave behind. All this other stuff, right? Whatever it is, vehicles, whatever. You know, that stuff doesn't mean nothing. You know what I mean? It's all going to be the memories. I think of memories of my grandparents, stuff like that. Um, so you definitely don't want to be a grouch. You know what I mean? You got to be, loving, caring, kind. Uh, that stuff goes a long ways. It just adds up. Yeah, I like seeing this one. This one's clean inside there, that box, compared to the other one. That's really nice. But anywho, we didn't get too many young bloods in here. I thought maybe we'd get a few young bucks in here asking some questions about life. So anywho, I think I'm gonna jump off here. I gotta vacuum this out, so I'm sure you don't really want to hear the vacuum running and me sucking away. And I gotta tape her up and get her out of here before it gets dark and jump and try to make my way home. So, anyways, thanks for being here, guys. Thanks, Tanner and Tony. It's always good. Like I said, if you need anything, you got my number. Hit me up. Alright, I'll talk to you later and put a little music on. Oh, we got Jess. Is it Jesus? Jessus? No problem, man. Anytime. Anytime. Like I say, you guys ever got any question or anything, don't be afraid. There's no dumb question because I've been there, you know what I mean, and I've been through a lot of it, and I really wish there was somebody around like myself to help with things. So I put my email typically in all the descriptions below, and you're more welcome to hit me up, ask questions, try to use the comment. Um, awesome, trying to already getting working on the license. All right, like I said, keep following along. I'll try to help you out as much as I can on it. All right, guys, I'm out. See you. Maybe if I can figure out how to turn it off.